The ship drifted into the border of their patrol zone like a leaf carried by a tide that had no master. Its hull was scarred, yet no battle marks matched any known weapon. Its design carried shapes unfamiliar to every database, yet somehow felt deliberate. In the way its metal curved like it had been built for both beauty and strength. The aliens aboard the patrol frigate Karis exchanged glances, heavy with curiosity and unease, for such a vessel had no right to exist in this sector, not without registry, not without identification, yet here it was, moving at the pace of something almost dead, but still clinging to the line between survival and surrender. The captain of the Karis, a seasoned officer named Tyron, rose from his command chair and ordered. The hailing signal to be sent his voice steady, though his inner mind hummed with the cold whisper of instinct. The signal was crafted in the common tongue of the sectors, a broad call of peace and welcome meant to invite dialogue rather than conflict. The words streamed across space in light pulses, then in sound waves, then in layered harmonic codes that no mind could mistake for aggression. A moment passed, and nothing answered. The drifting vessel seemed deaf to the call, or perhaps unwilling, to speak. Tyron ordered a second hail this time, more direct, more insistent, offering assistance and safe escort. The crew leaned toward their displays, watching for the faintest shimmer of reply. The ship hung silent, its lights dim, until at last something. Inside, it flickered not a distress beacon, not a weapon system, but a simple transmission line, opening like the mouth of a sleeper, drawing its first breath. The voice that came through was unlike any they had heard before, deep, steady, carrying the weight of a people unseen yet unforgettable, and it spoke only 2 words. Those words cut through the Karis like a sudden drop in gravity. Those words rewrote the still air around the crew. Those words were Earth control. The bridge of the Karis went. Still as though time itself had folded its arms and demanded silence, Tyron's crew froze, not because the words were hostile, but because the name had not been spoken in living memory. Not here, not anywhere in this quadrant. Tales of Earth were. The kind that belonged to quiet corners of stations, whispered by old travelers who claimed to have seen worlds before the Great Partition, who spoke of a blue sphere that birthed a species bold enough to scatter to the stars before vanishing from. Every map, those tales had always been brushed away as romantic exaggerations, for no trace of such a planet existed in official archives. No routes, no star coordinates, nothing to suggest it had ever been more than an old myth. Now the sound of those words hung heavy in the patrol ship's air as if daring any of them to challenge their meaning. Tyron forced his voice steady and asked the unknown vessel to clarify, repeating the name slowly. As though to be sure his ears had not been deceived yet, the vessel did not repeat itself. Instead, its channel remained open, breathing static into their systems, until a series of faint signals began weaving through the noise. The crew's linguist scrambled to interpret the code, but soon realized it was not meant for them. The transmission carried directional packets, bouncing into the deep void. Behind the Karis, bypassing their ship entirely, as if the vessel were speaking to someone far beyond this patrol zone. Tyron ordered pursuit course, and the Karis slid alongside the drifting ship, their scans finding no crew readings, no standard. Power cores, no life support functioning at full capacity, yet the vessel moved as though guided by an unseen hand. The youngest ensign on the bridge, a quiet being from the Othari systems, asked if they should board. Tyron hesitated for every instinct, told him this was not a derelict to be plundered, nor a threat to be neutralized. It was something far older and far more deliberate than anything their quadrant had prepared them for the voice that had spoken. Earth control had carried not fear, nor plea, but command. The decision to board was not made lightly. The Karis deployed its boarding craft with only a small team armed for both diplomacy and survival. They crossed the dark gap between the ships like travelers stepping into an ancient, Ruin expecting dust and echo, yet finding the air inside strangely intact. The corridors of the vessel were lined with metal that seemed grown rather than forged, every surface etched with patterns that shimmered faintly, as if reacting to the presence of living minds. The team advanced in silence, their scanners feeding back readings that confused their instruments, temperatures fluctuating without reason, magnetic fields shifting with a pulse like a distant heartbeat at the heart of the vessel. They found a single chamber lit by a sphere suspended in the air, glowing with a light that bent the edges of the room within. The sphere floated an image not of a map nor a star chart, but of a world hanging in black space oceans, glinting like shards of sapphire and clouds curling white and slow over green lands. None aboard the Keras had seen it before, yet each of them knew instinctively what it was. The sphere spoke then not in voice, but in a harmonic resonance that trembled in their bones. The words were clear without language. They were an invitation and a warning. At once the resonance repeated Earth control, as if announcing itself to a gathering unseen beyond the walls. The boarding team stood rooted for outside their ships. Instruments were reading dozens of faint contacts, blooming into the edges of the patrol zone signatures that bore no resemblance to any known fleet. Tyron's voice came over the comms calm, yet carrying the weight of a commander who had just glimpsed the first edge of something far larger than his own service. He ordered immediate withdrawal to the Keras, not because the drifting ship was a threat, but because the space around them was no longer empty. The words Earth control had not been meant for the Keras at all. They had been meant for whatever was now arriving.